What is Sebastian Sallows' troubling family secret? This guy in the state of play calls it a curse, and that is literally all we know. Or is it? Off the top of my head, I can think of two different kinds of curses that we get. The first one, being a werewolf. Now, when I started this video, I was like, Sebastian is definitely a werewolf. But the more research I've done, the more I'm like, he is definitely not a werewolf. It feels like the devs want us to think that he's a werewolf because they give us just enough information to like kind of put the pieces together on our own. But no, I don't think he is a werewolf. We can pretty quickly debunk this one. You see, the narrator in the state of play says that it's a troubling family secret, which means that it doesn't just affect him, it affects his family. And while I think it would be cool to have our own werewolf companion like James and Sirius, werewolfism, lycanthropy, isn't passed down between generations. On the official website, wizardingworld.com, it says this: werewolves generally reproduce by attacking non-werewolves. There has been no sign of their lycanthropy being passed on to their offspring. But I can hear you saying, what if two werewolves mate while they're transformed? You're probably not actually asking that, but I'm gonna go ahead and answer that anyway. Sadly, the text right below on the website dismisses this idea too. It says, if two werewolves meet and mate at the full moon, the result of the mating will be wolf cubs, which resemble true wolves in everything except for their abnormally high intelligence. So that's a no-go. But let me know what you think that pregnancy is like, because it has to be super weird, right? Like, does she transform back into a human and then have wolf cub babies? You know, on second thought, I don't want to know. Don't comment below. But anyway, if Sebastian isn't a werewolf, then what is he? The only other curse that I know of is a blood curse. And right away, that fixes the issues we had with the last theory. A blood curse can be passed down between generations, and we actually already know of one other person who has one, Nagini. Nagini is a maledictus, which means that she can transform into an animal, but unlike an animagus, one day she's not going to be able to transform back into a human. So with this idea in mind, I scrubbed back through the state of play in search of an animal that might be fitting, and the only non-magical animal I found was a bat, which is pretty weak evidence on its own, I will admit, but it turns out it doesn't even matter because I just remembered that the author put out a tweet saying this about maledictuses. Maledictuses are always women. The maledictus carries a blood curse from birth, which is passed down from mother to daughter. And unfortunately, Sebastian is almost certainly not a daughter, so that completely throws this idea out the window too. So I went back to the state of play again, in search of a new answer, when I came across an old one. I couldn't help but notice the similarity between this shrivel fig and an entire clove of garlic. Now, I'm not saying that there's any actual correlation between the two in the game, but I could see the devs putting it in there as a little hint of what Sebastian actually is. But let's connect the dots here, right? Earlier, I thought Sebastian was a werewolf, and that turned out to be wrong. And after that, I thought he was a bat, which also turned out to be wrong. But now I've got this thing that looks like a clove of garlic. These three things almost line up a little bit too closely. What else do you think of when you think of werewolves? Is it vampires? Because that's what I thought. Vampires and werewolves are always kind of associated together. But hold up, you're probably not quite convinced yet. Let me get there. There are hardly any mentions of vampires in the Harry Potter series, and I'm sure that the devs could have seen this as an opportunity to bring us something kinda new and extremely exciting. So let me ask you this. What does a vampire usually look like? Would you say that they look kind of pale? Would you go as far to say that they look sallow? I think that Sebastian Sallows' troubling family secret is that they're all a bunch of vampires. And if you think that their last name is just a coincidence, I'm sure that the Professor Remus Lupin would love to have a conversation with you. But I've rambled on long enough. I'm not the Super Carlin brothers. But tell me in the comments what you think his secret is, and then like and subscribe for more videos like this. But until next time, catch you next time, nerds.